So we come to the most important point, finding exact rubric. So this is a case of a child who has muscular dystrophy, and I'm going to show you his video. The child, they stay in a village in India, okay, and the child cannot exactly describe his symptoms, but the mother says that if the child doesn't get what he wants or what she wants, okay, then the child does this action. Have a look. He goes on the floor, on the roads, and keeps kind of screaming and shouting on the roads and keeps rolling on the road. Have a look. Have a look at this. The mother actually recorded the video and sent it to me and tells me, can you help us with a remedy? Have a look. A true practical case. And I want you to find the remedy, huh? And the rubric, most important, not the remedy, the rubric. Have a look. So every time the child doesn't get what he wants, imagine he wants a chocolate, but the parents say no. So he will go on the floor, go on the streets, and keep rolling and screaming and shouting that I want this. Have a look again. Quite amazing, no? So now we have to think, now this is the main thing. How do I find this? How do I find the rubric for this exact pattern? Let's take some suggestions from our colleagues. I want all of you to think. This is a very practical course. I want you to think, how do I find this? Or else, we always give such children, give chamomilla, give Sina. This is not homeopathy. The homeopathy is very sharp. You need to find the very, very exact symptom. So I want you to rack your brains, think, when this happens, how do we convert? Think. So many people are suggesting, a lot of rolling on the floor, a lot of moaning. Okay, interesting suggestions. Gestures, crawling. That's another kind of suggestion by people. Let's see some more. Okay, no problem. So there are some very interesting suggestions. How do we see this now? See. Yeah. See, now, when you see this, very often you may not know the rubric. There are two ways of finding rubrics for this. Two ways. Okay. The number one way is the way that I tried, but it's very difficult. And it requires to, I don't know, sacrifice your entire life. Right. So one of the things that I did was for the last, for a few years of my life, I would just keep browsing the repertory again and again. So many times that end of the day, if it is there in the repertory, about 80 to 90% of times I would know that because I've gone through it so many times. Okay. But this requires a lot of time. And I wouldn't suggest all of you to do that because it's not very practical. What is the second thing to do? Is the technique which I told you about is to think about keywords. Yes. What could be the keywords you can think about? When I say keywords, you have to think about homeopathic language of keywords. Hmm? So one of the thing is, of course, many of you said anger, but it is not anger. What is it? It is the fact that the child wants something, and when he doesn't get it, huh? The child wants something and he doesn't get it. That's when he actually falls on the floor and is rolling and shouting and screaming and crying. Right? So this is a kind of a contradiction. What is this? Contradiction. Yeah? And that is when he falls or or throws himself down on the floor. So why I'm saying this? Because these are all the important keywords which could be an entry point for me to find the exact rubric. I'm really trying to slow down the brains of myself and all the great homeopathic teachers that I have worked with and put it in front of you in such a way that you can do it yourself. So I'm really trying to do like a brain mapping. The idea today is not for me to show you hundreds of cases. That's the easiest thing to do, but to take few cases and show you step by step how to think. So at the end of next few lectures, you start thinking, how should I think? How should my mind work? How should it actually work? That is my only absolute kind of aim. So now you have to think, how do I see this in repertory? Again, you can open the repertory. Let's open repertory. Now, one way is I can open the rubric anger. Okay. Anger, and we know the rubric contradiction. So there is a rubric anger contradiction. And then unfortunately, it doesn't have a sub rubric. So there is anger contradiction and then least contradiction. So it doesn't work. So this is not a good keyword for me. Now let me look at another keyword, contradiction directly. Let's see. Contradiction, ailments from, let's see if I have something. And there I see contradiction in children. And there I find a very interesting rubric. Very, very close. Have a look at this. Have a look at this. Contradiction ailments from throw themselves angrily on the floor, cannot get their breath when least opposed. And it's very interesting to know who is the author. That means who is the proving. And it is a very, very authentic proving by Constantine Herring. And this is very close, huh? Are you all with me? I hope so. Robin, yes, Robin, you also found the rubric. I can see that. Yeah. So now wait, this is not it. So this you can see here. Okay. Now remember, this is the other lesson which I want to share with you. This same pattern may be given in another way also. One we found through contradiction, but the same pattern in the repertory can be found in another way. How do we do that? So what was the other keyword? Let's come back. The other keyword was falls or throws on the floor. So I can look at a keyword throws. Okay, let's see throws. Throws things, but it's not throws things, it's throws herself. And I can find throws herself on the floor. You can see the exact rubric given in another part of the repertory, but the same pattern. So you can see throws herself on the floor from opposition, cannot get his breath again, Pooja. Are you understanding?